Here to provide tonight's national anthem, please welcome Reverend Dr. Jesse McGuire. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 5-year survivor, Pastor Dan Winkleman, to lead us in prayer.
Well, good evening. I've been given the privilege to do an invocation and a prayer of blessing over this event tonight. And I respect the different expressions of faith represented here. But one thing we all have in common is that we're fighting pancreas cancer. And if I might sneak just a moment before we pray, I wanted to take this opportunity and thank God, and also to thank Dr. Doug Evans and his amazing team of beautiful people, because without them, I wouldn't be here tonight. So, Dr. Evans, I want to thank you. My family thanks you from the bottom of our hearts. So if you will, please pray with me. Oh God and Heavenly Father, I invite you into this magnificent place to be among us by your Holy Spirit. May you be blessed, O God, and may you bless each one here tonight. I also ask God that you would bless Roger and the Sina Magowitz Foundation team. Bless them with great success in achieving their mission to see a world where pancreas cancer is a chronic but treatable disease. May you give them wisdom and resources that they need to see this vision come to a reality. And God, I ask you to bless each healthcare provider here tonight, the healers that you've sent to be among us, to help us on our journey of health. Bless them with wisdom, bless them with strength, and bless them with the needed breakthroughs to continue winning in the war against pancreas cancer. And Lord, I ask you to bless all those who are hurting here tonight, those who are experiencing pain and suffering, and those who are in the middle of this battle. Bless them, O Lord, with hope. Bless them, Lord, with the help that they need, and bless them with healing. And for all of this, O God, we give you thanks for this place, for the food that we are about to eat, and for all of the wonderful people here tonight who have worked so hard to put this event together. In Christ's mighty name I pray, amen. Thank you.
Please welcome founder and chairman of the Sina Magowitz Foundation, Roger Magowitz.
Good evening and welcome. I would like to acknowledge my goddaughter Madison and my granddaughter Emma, who have come to support me tonight, and my grandson Blake and Caden, who are watching from Hawaii. I am deeply honored to stand before you today, here on this magnificent American Family Field, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of our foundation. This event has grown beyond my wildest dreams and is a testament to the unwavering commitment of each and every one of you. 20 years ago, when I founded this foundation, I was driven by a profound loss. My mother, Sina, an extraordinary woman, succumbed to pancreatic cancer at 64 years old. Her strength and courage in the face of this brutal disease inspired me to take action. I wanted to ensure that no one else would have to endure what she did, and that families would not have to suffer the pain of losing a loved one. I remember so well when I called TGen and I asked if I could meet Dr. Von Hoff for lunch. When we met, he said, "My name is not Dr. Von Hoff, my name is Dan. I'm not sitting down unless I buy lunch and it's not on TGen." This is the kind of person Dan is, and I have appreciated his leadership, passion, and drive, and most importantly, for mentoring me to navigate this hideous disease. Thank you, Dan. Sina Magowitz has a purpose, a very deep purpose: to unite patients and caregivers with medical rock stars at world-class institutions so they can continue to survive and thrive. A few months ago, a core group of us met and developed a strategic plan. While these words are a little different, our mission hasn't really changed. We just decided to crystallize it a little, maybe a little better. Over these 2 decades, we have made remarkable strides. Today, we stand united with over 300 generous donors whose contributions have been the lifeblood of our efforts. Your support has funded groundbreaking research, advanced treatments, and provided hope to countless families. I cannot thank you enough for your generosity and dedication. To the nearly 100 brave survivors of pancreatic cancer that are with us here tonight, you are the embodiment of hope and resilience. Your stories inspire us every day and remind us why we fight. You have faced unimaginable challenges with grace and determination, and you are living proof that progress is possible. We supported research that now stands as the standard of treatment for this horrible disease. And to the doctors and researchers who dedicate their lives to finding a cure, you are our heroes. And this is the definition of a rock star. Your tireless efforts, innovative research, and compassionate care have changed the landscape of pancreatic cancer care. As our new vision states, you give us hope that one day a world with pancreatic cancer is considered to be a chronic treatable disease. Tonight is not just a celebration of our achievements, it is a reaffirmation of our mission. We have come a long way, but our journey is far from over. Pancreatic cancer remains one of the toughest battles we face in medicine, but together we can and we will make a difference. Speaking of someone who makes a difference, Dr. Doug Evans, who has worked tirelessly to organize our symposium and so many activities for this event. It goes without saying, he has treated thousands of patients and has helped so many in their fight with pancreatic cancer. Thank you, Doug. As we stand on this field, let us remember that every pitch, every swing, and every step we take towards a world without pancreatic cancer. Let us honor the memory of those we have lost by continuing to fight with everything we have. Thank you for your unwavering support, your generosity, your belief in our cause. Together, we will continue to make strides, save lives, and bring hope to those that need it most. I would like to now introduce tonight's MC, Lance Allen, anchor, reporter, and personal friend of Roger Kaplinger. Let's give Lance a warm welcome to the Cena family.
Thank you, Roger. And I promise not everyone who speaks tonight will be named Roger, but we've got a couple of them lined up. So that's our start for the night. That's our 1-2 punch. What a night at American Family Field. It's truly an honor to stand among such dedicated individuals in the medical field, our survivors, caretakers, to recognize those who have generously contributed to raising awareness for pancreatic cancer. I want to extend a special thanks to all of you for your contributions and trust in us. So give yourselves a round of applause this evening for being here and supporting the cause. Tonight promises to be a memorable evening filled with opportunities to make a difference. If you haven't already, please make sure to grab your paddle for tonight's auction, and if nothing less, use it to cool yourself down. I've seen a few of those as well. But if you wave a lot, trust me, the auctioneer will bid you early and often, stuff like that, so just be forewarned. All right. Now it's my privilege to introduce someone who embodies courage, resilience, and hope. And I will freely admit, I'm going to take my little reporter hat off and say, as a person, it always puts me in a very difficult role when you find out about someone that you know extremely well, a friend who's struggling, things like that. I'm a human first and foremost, and I wanted to make sure my friend was okay. But once he was okay, and once he wanted to say something, I said, you have a powerful story, my friend, and I will never forget that he entrusted me to be the first one to tell his story, and what a powerful story it was. He literally hit it out of the park. So you are going to be loving this story and loving his journey and loving his path and his passion for why we're here tonight. Please join me in welcoming tonight's honorary chairman, Roger Kaplinger. Roger, my friend, please join us up on stage.
Thanks, Lance. Checks in the mail. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you, and welcome to our beautiful ballpark. If you take a minute We play major league games on this field, and you're sitting on the infield. So some of you may have to dodge balls here, but it's a beautiful ballpark. And thank you, Lance, for that introduction. And I really appreciate the friendship that we've had over the last 6 years. Lance have given me an unbelievable platform to tell our story, tell about awareness of pancreas cancer, promote the Magowitz Foundation, also Dr. Doug Evans and the great people of MCW. And I'm extremely proud to be the honorary chairman of this event. I'd like to provide a little bit of background for those of you who don't know about the Magowitz Foundation. Roger founded it in 2006 following the passing of his mother, only after a short battle with pancreatic cancer. As everyone in the Magowitz Foundation knows, this is Big Roger, this is Little Roger. So we're on Zoom calls and they'll be like, Roger? And I would, yep, nope, that's Big Roger. So Big Roger has devoted much of his free time, money, to finding a cure for this disease. I share that with him, and I reflect on the past 6 years since I've been diagnosed and been blessed with the Laban Pancreatic Cancer Program at MCW, Dr. Doug Evans and his incredible team, and the Magowitz Foundation with their team of trying to find this vision. Our family is committed to making a difference and paying it forward for the patients of today and the patients of tomorrow. To my wife, Jackie, she's the rock. You helped us travel this journey together, held it together for us, and that's why I'm here today. I would not be here without you. To our sons, Kyle and Brett, you guys mean the world to us. We have instilled the value of compassion, never settled for mediocrity, and no one will outwork us. Maybe Doug Evans. Maybe. Right? And we all strive for excellence. Those are the pillars of our family. We wouldn't be here as pancreatic cancer patients without caregivers. I would like to recognize every caregiver here tonight. You are an integral part of this incredible team. Without your love, support, dedication for your respective loved ones, this journey would be incredibly difficult to navigate. With that being said, we are very fortunate to have this beautiful stadium, to have a dinner on the diamond. Unfortunately, Commissioner Seeley couldn't be here tonight. But thank you for his tenacity, his relentless pursuit of a dream to bring baseball back to Milwaukee. You are truly an icon and the best commissioner in professional sports. To my pal Bob Euchre and Judy, thank you for all the support for me, for our family, as we've navigated pancreatic cancer, as well as supporting Dr. Evans, the Medical College of Wisconsin. Thank you so much for your support. To my Brewers family, I can't say enough. I hold you very dear to my heart. You stood by my side through this incredible journey. I appreciate you all more than you know. To Mr. Antonaccio, our owner, his family has given me this platform to promote pancreatic cancer, to promote awareness to our community and to the entire country. Thank you. You have no idea how far we have reached pancreatic cancer patients. Teaming up with the Sina Magowitz Foundation, MCW has been a completely organic partnership. The outreach of the foundation extends all over the United States, Canada, France, Trinidad, Saudi Arabia. As you can see, there are no borders for pancreatic cancer. The U.S. survival rates have slowly increased from 9% to 13%. That is simply not good enough. That is not good enough. Here at the MCW Laban Pancreatic Cancer Program, in support with the Sina Magowitz Foundation, the 5-year survival rate, 30%. With these survival rates of chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery sometimes, all MCW patients, this leads the world. The Sina Magowitz Foundation supports a partnership with sponsoring clinical trials, preclinical work, research have changed the gold standard of patient care and have led to larger multi-million-dollar NIH and R01 grants for institutions such as TGen, MCW, and Honor Health. There are several support groups that Sina Magowitz has ongoing assisting patients, caregivers, and families to have a network to provide hope, inspiration for those who have already gone through this incredible process and can provide valuable assistance. We are leaders with clinical trials and genetic testings, all of which are important to outcomes of patients. This is still not good enough. As you can see, the Sina Magowitz Foundation and MCW are committed to finding a cure for this disease. We will continue our mission to uncover new and innovative clinical trials, effective treatment options tailor-made to each patient, and provide a landscape for this disease. To everyone here tonight, you have shown the commitment to make this huge undertaking. I'm reminded of a speech by a good friend of Stuart Scott, an ESPN anchor that was receiving the Jimmy Valvano Award in 2014. He said, "You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and the manner in which you live." This resonates with me as a 6-year pancreatic cancer survivor. I'm inspired by so many here tonight. Each one of us with our own struggles of this disease, but Stuart Scott battled this disease. He passed away at 49 years old. But the message here is how we battle, how we can support each other, and we are not in this alone. As I look around this evening, everyone in attendance all has their A-game outfits on, right? We came to have a great experience. But my challenge is we need to make an effective change, meaning we must be proactive instead of reactive. Me, myself, I'm tired of chasing. We do have clinical trials. We do have research that's second to none in the U.S., but we need to be proactive to try to find a cure for this disease. We need to get ahead of it. There's far too many pancreatic patients that could have been diagnosed early if we had interventions to look at markers, family history, diagnostic testing alerts to this disease. I urge each one of us here tonight, this is why we are here. It's not just checking the box, coming to an event. We need your partnership to forge ahead with the better proactive testing and assist our scientists and researchers to provide the platform. And yes, everyone, that includes money, right? We're going to raise our paddles tonight. So in conclusion, we need way more pancreatic cancer survivors. There is much to be done the next year to understand how can we all use this platform with the Sina Magowitz Foundation, MCW, Honor Health, and all the major players against fighting pancreatic cancer to continue this brilliant work for this disease. In closing, I continue to remind myself of my favorite baseball player, Mr. Lou Gehrig of the New York Yankees. Gary. He had to step away from the game from ALS. The quote that he gave the speech to the Yankee fans was, and I'll consider this the luckiest man on the face of the earth. And I feel that to Dr. Evans and his team at the Medical College of Wisconsin. So on behalf of me, my family, the Sina Magowitz Foundation, the Medical College of Wisconsin, the Milwaukee Brewers, I thank you for your attendance and your commitment to make a difference. Thank you.
Roger, you have a future as a motivational speaker. I feel like running through a wall or maybe running through the center field wall after that. That was absolutely awesome. And thank you for all you've done for the Sina Magowitz Foundation. Before we hear from some of the physicians joining us tonight, we do want to take time to recognize some people in the crowd. Roger did mention them. We want to thank them for spending their evening with us, some of his Brewers teammates. We have Bob and Judy Euchre down here, as well as the star of the Usinger ads, Tony Migliaccio, Mr. Tony down here. So give them a round of applause down here as well. Great to see all of you here with us tonight. All right, we also want to thank some of the major sponsors, some of whom have supported the Sina Magowitz Foundation since the beginning. Special thanks goes out to Customatic Technology, the Morin family, Babel Italian Eatery of Arizona, Stan Viticus, Francis Roses, Rule 2 Advisors, 11 Capital Partners, Carl and Kathy Glassman, and Gary Fazio for helping make this event a success and a reality, so give them a round of applause as well. So the standard joke in broadcasting is if you say a word or a name very fast and with confidence, everybody assumes you know what you're talking about or you pronounced it correctly. I think I've done okay so far. We're going to try to keep doing that as we go along. Our next speaker is Dr. Erkut Borazanci, Director of Oncology, Honor Health Research Institute, Clinical Associate Professor, Clinical Translation Research Division, TGen. So how about that for a title? That is really cool. Dr. B is currently working with Dr. Susan Tsai, Doug Evans, as mentioned before, and Zhenjian Ye on the pancreas clinical trial, which is funded by the Sina Magowitz Foundation and currently underway at MCW's Laban Pancreatic Cancer Program and Honor Health. That's a mouthful, but we got through it. All right. He is going to talk about the work in the lab that has been supported by the Sina Magowitz Foundation that will support future trials for people with pancreatic cancer. Dr. Borazanci, would you please join us up on stage and give him a round of applause as well?
Good evening, everyone. It is so great to come out and to see so many survivors and so much support all together to tackle pancreas cancer. So Roger, Liz, and team, thank you so much for putting this together and bringing all these people together tonight. So I'd like to talk... about is pancreatic cancer and the advances that has been going on in the past year. Pancreatic cancer is a complicated disease. It's a disease that's very difficult to treat for and detect. And so we've been making strides in trying to treat and detect pancreas cancer better. One of the findings that's been presented actually this year at our international conference in Chicago at ASCO was the ability to differentiate types of pancreatic cancer. That's an important finding because that tells us that some treatments may work better than others. This is data that was published from a prior clinical trial that showed that certain types of pancreas cancer can really respond to chemotherapy. On the right side, the basal subtype actually responds much better to gemcitabine and nab-paclitaxel. And so what's great about this finding is that we're doing this. This is a prospective trial that's supported by the Sina Magowitz Foundation, and this is done in collaboration with Zhenjian Ye's lab in UNC, the Medical College of Wisconsin, and now Ohio State University with Dr. Susan Tsai. And this is taking patients' tumors, sending into the lab, profiling them, and then determining what is the best therapy for them. The ability to personalize therapy in pancreatic cancer with the better treatment. And I am very honored to work with a great group of collaborators, both in Scottsdale, Arizona at Honor Health Research Institute, along throughout the country and the world on this. Another interesting finding in the lab that we're bringing to patients is the ability to utilize various technologies to improve treatments in pancreas cancer. This is an example of something called acoustic cluster therapy, and that's using ultrasound to activate bubbles that are infused into patients. And this was work that was done at a TGen with Dr. Hyan Khan and Dr. Ning's lab. And what they did was that they were looking at infusing bubbles, and then by doing so, activating those bubbles with ultrasound and getting chemotherapy better perfused in the tumors. They were able to do this through very sophisticated preclinical work that was able to look at the mice and apply that ultrasound to the tumor. What they found was impressive results and responses with chemotherapy in combination with this ultrasound-based therapy. So what I'm showing here are tumor growth fact curves that are showing decreased tumor growth in response to this combination of chemotherapy with this ultrasound-guided therapy that activates these bubbles. So we're excited to bring this to patients this fall at Honor Health Research Institute. Another very big interest in the lab is transcription factor 2H. This is something that's very important with cancers, especially pancreas cancer, to help allow them to evade the immune system and to continue to grow and divide. We believe that pancreas cancer's reliance on preventing the immune system from being effective against it is based upon something called immune privilege, and that we can target this by targeting transcription factor 2H. This is also work supported by the Sidney F. Magowitz Foundation in the lab by my colleague Dr. Hyan Khan that showed that with exposure to targeting the transcription factor 2H, we can see changes in the tumor microenvironments. So what you're seeing here is exposure to a targeted agent against TF2H and seeing the presence of the immune cells into these cancers. What we're also seeing on the right side is the tumor growth in conjunction to exposure to single agent therapy with immune therapy that does not work well. And then when you combine that with the targeting agent with CDK7 or TF2H, you see this growth decrease with this combination. So this is very exciting work that we're looking more and more agents for to see which ones are the best ones. And this may involve a multitude of agents and multitude of immunotherapies that we're intending to bring to the clinic, thanks to your all support. The other thing that I'm excited about in advanced pancreas cancer is KRAS. Many of you know about KRAS, and you've been told the last few years that we can't target it. And over the last several decades, there's been a lot of trials that have been trying to target KRAS. It's mutated in 90% of pancreatic cancer, so it's a very important driver for pancreatic cancer. Lately, there's been development in more effective pancreas KRAS inhibitors. This is one example through a company called Revolution Medicine. This was data that was presented just 2 weeks ago publicly, and this was their phase 1 study with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And what I'm showing are progression-free survival curves that are much better than any chemotherapy that's currently available. So this is really exciting data. And when you look at the shrinkage, most of these tumors shrink. And so it's really exciting that they're continuing to develop this. What's going to be done starting this fall is a phase 3 study taking that single agent oral KRAS inhibitor against regular chemotherapy. What we're also bringing to the clinic are various combinations. And so combinations involve other chemotherapy agents with these KRAS inhibitors and other antibodies that may effectively attack the cancer too. And the good news is there's several different KRAS inhibitors in development. So we're a really exciting time to see all this change going on. What's also important about this development is that going back to the immune system, targeting KRAS may allow the immune system to be more effective against pancreas cancer. And lastly, early detection is important. It's important to be aware of the family history of the individual, the genetics that one can carry, and identifying those individuals. And thankfully, there's a lot of work around the country, around the world, to offer the best screening and early detection tests. This is work done from our colleagues at City of Hope, led by A.J. Goel, in looking at a blood-based test that can look for things that are unique to pancreatic cancer patients versus patients without pancreas cancer. This was presented at AACR, an international cancer conference this spring. And we're very proud to work with our team both locally and around the country, around the world, including MTW. So our colleagues are near and far. They're in industry and they're in other academic institutions. We're looking at other ways of detecting pancreatic cancer early, by urine tests, by stool microbiome tests, and by available tests that are currently done by several different companies today. So one day we like to see that we can catch pancreas cancer early in the early stage, or hopefully before it actually develops. So again, the way I look at the future is hope. The complicated disease being something that we can target more effectively with early development and with more effective targeted therapy. So again, without this support, we can't get it done. So we appreciate all the effort that you all have done in coming out here tonight, coming together, and continuing to support work in pancreas cancer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. B. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and privilege to introduce tonight's keynote speaker, Dr. Doug Evans. Doug Evans is not just a distinguished figure in the field of medicine, he's a beacon of hope of many lives that he's touched that have been touched by pancreatic cancer. As professor and chair of the Department of Surgery in the Medical College of Wisconsin, Dr. Evans has dedicated his career to pushing the boundaries of pancreatic cancer treatment. His approaches have transformed what was once considered impossible into new opportunities of healing. His surgical prowess is unmatched. Dr. Evans is a leader in research driving forward groundbreaking advancements in pancreatic cancer treatment, and tonight we have the honor of hearing from him. So without further ado, another person that I've been just wowed with in meeting him and getting to know him over the years, Dr. Doug Evans. Please give him a round of applause. He prefers to be known as Doug because he's a simple, humble guy, but let's give him a round of applause and a warm welcome.
Well, thanks. Yeah, thank you very much. When I saw Lance up here and I listened to Roger, I said, this is kind of crazy. For those of you who don't know, which is probably all of you, I was the worst high school baseball player in the entire world. My only hope was getting hit by a pitch, which I became fairly good at my last year of high school. And we have very complicated IT tonight, so I hear a little echo. So I'm going to hopefully get used to it a little bit. But it's really great to be here. I'd like to thank everyone for coming, the Magowitz Foundation, and Erkut and I try to do a 1-2 punch. Erkut talks about science and the amazing inspirational breakthroughs, and I just talk a little bit about philosophy. So I would also like to thank Wendy and Melissa, who helped me get ready for this. Where's Melissa? Say hi over there. Where's Wendy? Oh, great. Thank you both. You guys are great. And I'm going to get to Randy and Michael a little bit later. So in Wisconsin, I hope that all of you from out of town will get a little tattoo before you leave. It's kind of a Wisconsin thing. And a purple ribbon would be great. A huge thank you to everyone in the Laban Pancreatic Cancer Program. There's many of you are here tonight. I can't really thank all of you, but it's just an amazing group. A special thanks to Pete and Marianne Laban, who have endowed our program, just absolutely wonderful people. And what can I say about the Sina Magowitz Foundation? Just the energy, enthusiasm, it's incredible. I would like to say a few words about the people who talked over the course of yesterday and this morning. Where is Susan? Susan, where's Susan Tsai? Susan, where are you? Okay. So Susan, I do have a little bit of bad news for you. If you actually look into your purse, your driver's license and your passport may have been lifted. So I'm not sure that it's going to be possible for you to leave. I think all of you know my partners from MCW, Beth, Bill, Mandana, Calicia, Kathleen. I'll talk about a patient we operated on together. Where's Kathleen? She's over here someplace. Where is Kathleen? There, Kathleen. Thank you. Gwen, Michael Gordon spoke this morning. Where's Michael? Michael, thanks for everything you do. Dan is my hero in oncology. Dan and Ann are here right in front of me. Urquhart, you just heard from. Basil El Reyes came here from the University of Alabama and had to leave due to his son did something stupid like our kids would do and ended up fracturing his leg, but gave an amazing presentation on Friday afternoon. Raul Urrutia, who runs our Genomic Institute. Albert Kung, where's Albert? Albert, stand up for a minute. Albert's head of radiation oncology at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. Came a long way. Albert actually came from either Europe or Asia. You probably don't even know what time zone you're on, but thank you so much for joining us. Tommy McFall just got an NIH grant funded, so Tommy, congratulations. And a lot of that was stimulated by the Sina Magowitz Foundation, the We Care Fund. Nikki Lytle, who I hope will remember me when she's famous, maybe just a little chance you'll remember me, and Mike Dwinell, just cute, great people. So I'm going to take you back to 3 weeks ago on a Saturday night. In fact, just about a little over an hour short of that. You can see that this is my chart plotter on my boat. So I'm going to use sailing as a metaphor for pancreas cancer in the next 5 minutes. So we were doing the race from Chicago to Mackinac Island, and you can see our little boat there is that black thing in the middle of Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan is 75 miles across, about 340 miles long. The trip to Mackinac Island is a little over 340 miles. And you can see that orange and yellow stuff there is not good, right? That's a storm coming in. And I think that was just a great metaphor for the storm of a pancreatic cancer diagnosis. You're oftentimes frightened, seeking those that you can trust. And I'm going to talk about this on the next slide, because it really, the storm of pancreatic cancer requires just tremendous amount of help. And last Saturday, I was actually traveling back to Milwaukee for a wonderful event here and in Milwaukee, and I received a phone call from four different patients, and you know, one of them from the West Coast really resonated with me, and she mentioned that she was frightened. Everyone is seeking those she can trust. What if those don't exist? Overwhelmed with the information, impossible not to be. Information from friends sometimes help, sometimes it doesn't help. Concerned about it being inconveniencing those who, I mean, how many have experienced that, right? Concerned about inconveniencing those who actually love you. Asked what she should do and how fast she should do it. Should we seek a second opinion? And if so, how many? Really very difficult. And it's easy now, with all of the opportunities we have for the treatment of this disease, to simply fall into what I call paralysis of analysis. Well, this is what happened when the storm hit the fleet going towards Mackinac Island. And you can see those are all little boats, and this actually is what you can see here. And all those little boats, instead of going north, many of them actually headed east and were derailed. And I just use that as a metaphor for what can happen with the storm of pancreatic cancer. So what is the reality of what we have now? And I think you heard from Urquhart, and I'm just kind of summarizing what Urquhart said. We've had amazing advances. Progress in early diagnosis is being made. The chemotherapy and all of the systemic therapies, the progress will be amazing in the next couple years. We heard from Albert about radiotherapy, the proton unit, everything that's going on. Surgery is becoming safer, and we've heard a lot about surgery. I wanted to put a big plug in for Karen Kirsting. Karen is our psychologist in the pancreatic cancer program, and just an amazing individual. And you know, the importance of psychology can really not be overstated. So my generation kind of thinks twice about a psychologist. Everyone else wants a coach, wants a psychologist. I think every Major League Baseball player has a psychologist, right? I mean, it's amazing. Everyone has one. So I think we have to become more receptive to that. Amazing advances in therapy are only amazing if they actually make it to the patient. And think about that. And when I was thinking about this, I thought about Jerry Seinfeld. And many of you have probably seen the Seinfeld episode where he's looking for the reservation. So he goes up for his rental car, and he made the reservation, but there's no car, right? And he mentions to the woman there, holding the reservation is the most important part of the reservation. You actually have a car. No different in cancer therapy. Having an effective treatment is only effective if you actually have it, if it gets to the patient. And as we expand our technology in all of our treatments, the challenge of the next decade will be actually getting those treatments into patients around the country. So holding the reservation for us is really done by an amazing group. And I list here just our nurse practitioners and PAs in the surgical oncology department, just an absolutely amazing group. And they're what holds our reservation. And I think many of you know that. So holding the reservation needs to be combined with, I put here, the power of positive thinking. And these are really the things that patients can do. Patients and their families. Love and affection, the many personal qualities you all know better than me, family and friends, freedom from distractions, understanding your medications, knowledge of what we do and why, and strength and resilience. And I want to highlight a couple of these with a couple short, let me go back for a minute. Can I go back? I wanted to highlight these, I wanted to highlight these with just a couple short patient videos. So I don't know if Randy is here. I didn't see Randy, but Randy just had an incredible dose of positive thinking. I mean, it just never vanished. And for those of you out here, you know how difficult that is, right? Just impossible. So I wanted to just mention that for a minute. So hopefully you'll enjoy about 3.5 minutes of Randy's story.
Hi, I'm Randy Travis. This is my wife, Mary.
Hello.
And this is the story of my cancer, but our recovery. And it starts off in 2020, and in February of 21, that's right, 21.
Yeah.
I had a 6-month diabetic checkup. And since I was on the statin, they double-checked the liver enzymes. And my liver enzymes were off the charts.
Yeah.
And they determined I definitely had pancreatic cancer, and it was a tumor wrapped around the artery going through the tumor, or through the pancreas. We live in Huntington Woods, Michigan, outside Detroit, and Beaumont Hospital is where it was diagnosed. So in March or April of 21, I started my chemo. And I had a regime where I started every 2 weeks. I would have about 5 hours of chemo, and then I'd have a little football for a couple of days, a little pump, and then an infusion shot in the arm. And we did that for 2 months, and it was determined that it was not working very well. Now, during the chemo, one of the things I did, because it's a matter of positive attitude, is I would wrap the chemo bags with pictures of liquor bottles.
What a great
so
thought.
that every time I went in, the nurses would ask what we were drinking this week. And I had radiation and chemo in September of that year, had about a month off, and in October, end of October is when I had the Whipple procedure. And we came into Milwaukee for 3 weeks, stayed at the Kathy's house, or Mary stayed at Kathy's house. I got to stay at the Freighter Hilton up in the top floor, 12th floor.
Penthouse.
Penthouse, one of the toughest parts of it when I was first diagnosed is that until we became aware of what the surgery and the procedure, the chemo treatment is going to be, is we couldn't feel like we could tell our kids that I had PC until we knew what the strategy was going to be. And that was very hard to keep that a secret from our family and our kids until such time we could do it. We had the surgery in October of 21, and about 3 weeks or 2 more weeks we stayed there at Kathy's house. And then I came back and I went right back to work, sort of, semi-retired.
Very sort of.
Very sort of.
At this point.
Yeah. But what we did is we bought a camper, which is what we're sitting in right now. And I'll give you a quick tour of it. So we bought our camper and we immediately started planning trips. And presently we are doing 4 weeks coming out to Montana. We're coming through the Dakotas because we have a map and I was missing South Dakota and Kansas. You gotta get those, it's all about the stickers.
I get the stickers.
And presently, as we're recording this, we're just outside the Badlands of South Dakota. And so I'll give you a quick look at that. So I've taken a new philosophy on that says you can put it off until tomorrow till you can. And yes, it doesn't sound like a country song because it came from a country song. And this is where we're parked right now.
So we've got about a 200-foot drop, about 10 feet from our camper. It's very hard to tell.
Really a great story. And Randy's attitude, I wish we could bottle it and give it to everyone who needs it, because it's so hard to stay that positive. And I think it's impossible for some of you who are living through yesterday and today not to say, well, what about, why do you focus on success, and should we focus on maybe a little bit more on the patients who aren't so fortunate? And I wanted to just address that in one little slide. And I put here what we learned from success is we learned positive thinking, toughness, resilience. And I think it's important to have that inspiration to get through the treatment. And the next little video I'll show you illustrates that. I did want to give a shout out to my Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Brewers, and for those hockey fans, the Florida Panthers. And for those of you who don't know, the general manager of the Florida Panthers is Billy Zito from Milwaukee. And for all of the people from the Medical College of Wisconsin, you will know the Zito name because Billy is Maggie's brother and Priscilla's son. And we've taken care of both Maggie and Priscilla, and I think I wouldn't be surprised. Just keep tuned to your emails, because I wouldn't be surprised if Lord Stanley's Cup makes it to this city very soon. Why we, especially the medical team, remember our failures. It's how we develop the treatments of tomorrow. It keeps us grounded in our constant quest to never have the treatment be worse than the disease. And even though we celebrate all of the pancreatic cancer survivors and all the great things, I just want everyone to know that everyone in medicine here is always thinking about the patients that aren't successful, where we don't have the result that we want. Well, I wanted to present a short video for 3 minutes on toughness and resilience, because Mike, his story is incredible. He had an extremely long recovery, and patients go through chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery, and sometimes that recovery can be months, and that was certainly the case here. And for those of you, and for those who know people who, especially after surgery, it's a very difficult experience, lasting months. I think Mike's story is a good one. We also share a passion for boating. I'm a little embarrassed about what he named his boat, but I thought his story was good enough that I could put up with it. So this is Mike's story.
I kept complaining to him that I had this little pinch in my side and my back, and so they did an MRI, and we get a phone call, and they said, guess what, you have pancreatic cancer. And so we just all kind of fell apart, and we ended up coming home early. Didn't say a word in the car. Everybody was quiet for 8.5-hour drive. So yeah, that was kind of how it all started. We lived in Atlanta, and we both worked, and I had a small landscape maintenance company, and I was a corporate pilot also. We raised 2 daughters. So we just kind of worked all the time, and about the time we figured out here comes retirement, and we had decided we were going to get a sailboat and do some sailing. So we moved in February of 2015. And then in May of 2015, I got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And I did chemo for a year every week. So, and then I stopped that for a while. In 6 weeks, I did radiation every day. Cindy was still working. She would leave at 6:30 in the morning. I would be curled up in my chair, and she'd come home at 6:30 in the evening, and I would still be curled up in my chair, and I didn't move all day. Everybody that I talk to says, oh, you must have had a good attitude, you know. No, I don't think so. Your attitude when you're on chemo and radiation really sucks. Looking back, I think the thing that really got me through it was the fact that my 2 girls had these military scholarships in college, and I wanted to see them graduate and commission as officers. I got done with my year of chemo. You know, the whole build-up with the chemo was to get the Whipple. My tumor was wrapped around my artery and vein that goes through the head of the pancreas. And it unwrapped, but it was still leaning up against it. So then Charlie, Dr. Staley, said, you need to go see Dr. Evans in Milwaukee. I'm thinking, Milwaukee? I didn't know anything about Milwaukee other than they make beer. So I was thinking, well, that can't be all bad, so we go up to Milwaukee. And Dr. Evans, you know, we had he had all the information and the scans in front of us. He was looking at it, he was taking notes, dictating and all this kind of thing. And he turned to me and said, yeah, we can do it. I was like, great. And then he started in telling me all the problems that can happen if you get the Whipple, you know, with your plumbing system. And this and that. And, you know, he was just warning me all the things that, you know, it's going to change your life. I tell you what, that hospital is something else. Those young nurses, they had their act together. They were very professional. That's why the boat is Heaven's Gift, spelled H''EVANS. Gift. You know, I am most appreciative for my life. I tell my story to everybody I meet that I get a chance, because I find that sooner or later I come across people that their family member or somebody had pancreatic cancer, and then I tell them about my experience, and I tell them about Dr. Evans. And I want people to know that, you know, not everybody dies from this. And there is a way to survive. Other people have done it and survived. And you just have to tell yourself, if they can do it, you can do it. And you need to get involved with some sort of foundation or group that can help you verbalize it, repeat it to others, and keep it in your head that you can get through this. Just to give some hope to some people is important.
So Michael, Michael can maybe raise his hand. Where are you sitting? I know Michael's here. You can talk to him, but what he didn't say and what he understated was his lengthy recovery. And he's here now 8 years after his treatment, but his struggle after surgery was probably equal to the struggle before surgery. And it's a great lesson for everyone who has that struggle that there's a rainbow oftentimes. A big thank you to my two favorite Rogers in the world. What can I say? We have a number of really neat patient stories on YouTube. Carol's story is particularly important. I mean, Carol, similar to Michael, had a long struggle after surgery and is currently doing great. I'd encourage all of you to watch Pancreas School. We have Eva, Katie, and Kathleen here. Some really neat videos. And Roger, what can I say to the Magowitz Foundation? Thank you for all you do. The energy, enthusiasm, and the dedication is just important. And as mentioned, Big Roger and Little Roger are the keys to keeping this going. So I'll leave you with Kenny Chesney, and thank you very much for all your attention. Okay.
One more round of applause for Dr. Doug Evans. Amazing work. Michael's story, so powerful. And we do have a number of special guests here as well. I'm going to have Roger introduce maybe at least a handful of them and stuff like that, but we do have a number of people who are near and dear to our hearts, his hearts, everybody's hearts. So Roger, come on up.
So this is totally off script here, and I know Dr. Evans is not the one to point the spotlight at me. Can every Dr. Evans patient stand up, please? Doug? You're Doug now? Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. Thanks, Lance.
That's amazing to see all the people stand up from up here. It's just, what a perspective. Unbelievable. At this point, you've heard from a lot of the doctors who are charging the standard of care, pushing it forward, people helping fund groundbreaking research. Let's hear from some of the patents and patients, I should say, patents that have been put forward to medicine and things like that, and caretakers who are benefiting and helping others from these advancements. When I call your name, please come to the stage, and we want to hear some of these stories as well and just say a few words. The first one, our first speaker, is a 2-year warrior. Please welcome to the stage Don Jenkins. Don, come on up.
Well, thanks, Lance. Great to be here from a number of different perspectives. I'd like to tell you a quick story and then present a plan for the future. So, despite having a nice holiday dinner planned for my family and my son receiving a surprise phone call from an unlisted number letting him know he was just accepted into pilot training for the United States Air Force, December 23rd, 2021 was not a good day in the Jenkins family household. That was the day it turned out that I was notified that pancreatic cancer had decided to invade my body. After receiving this diagnosis, I knew I needed to take action. So I did what I always do, which drives my wife nuts. I made a plan that I could violently execute. I call that plan the 3 Fs. But I have to admit, at the time I received the phone call, there was a 4th F. But for this occasion, I'm going to leave that one off, and we're just going to focus on 3. The first F is what I call fortune. I was very fortunate to find this early. I try to pay attention to my body, but I have to admit, finding it when I found it was absolute pure luck. I was also fortunate enough to be able to build an excellent team. Through several doctor friends of mine, I was referred to colleagues at prestigious medical centers across the United States, in the Midwest, Texas, and on the East Coast. And I met with as many people as I could, and as many as my insurance would pay for. I learned during this process that one of the best pancreatic cancer surgeons in the country and one of the best medical centers in the country for pancreatic cancer happened to be right here in Milwaukee, about an hour drive from my house in Illinois. So what I did, I built a local team of experts to help me get through chemo. And I was incredibly fortunate enough to have as my quarterback Dr. Douglas Evans and his team. And we've talked about a number of people on his team, but I want to mention a few people that were instrumental. Nurse practitioners Gabby and Natalie, couldn't have gotten through this without them. My radiation oncologist, Dr. Beth Erickson, who had the patience of a saint. My inpatient PA, Benta Smith. My MCW oncologist, Dr. Mandana Kamgar. And my inpatient nurse, Kelly, who had the patience of a saint. And I need to tell you, having me in the hospital for 5 days, patience was an absolute job requirement. So during my treatment, not only did I experience clinical excellence, but I was made to feel like I was their only patient. The kindness, accessibility, and willingness to listen were traits I found to be exceptional. And this was important because as a result of this, I was able to focus my energies on beating back this disease rather than frustration and aggravation of process and logistics. The second F is faith. I educated myself on this disease and the treatments, and despite the dismal statistics that seem to pervade most of the literature, I developed a stubborn faith that I would come through. One thing that really surprised me was the number of people, both close and distant, who said they were praying for me. This prompted me to read up on the subject, and one of the books I really liked was called Faith Still Moves Mountains by Harris Faulkner. I found it inspiring. My faith in what Dr. Evans calls the mind-body connection cannot be underestimated. His team also reinforced a positive outlook, which worked well for my outlook, and my control what you can control mentality. The third F is family. I was supported by my wife, Kathy, my kids, Zach and Riley, and my faithful 105-pound dog. And like every patient here, I had a family I wanted to get back to. So after going through chemo, radiation, and surgery, I emerged disease-free in August of 2022. And since then, thank you. And since then, I got to celebrate a few milestones that I'd like to mention. One, I celebrated my 30th wedding anniversary. I watched my daughter graduate from high school and start her college career at Marquette in pre-medicine. And Dr. Evans has promised her an internship. I was able to see her play her first season on the women's Division I lacrosse team in the Big East. I saw my son graduate from college, commission into the United States Air Force, and 1 year later, I pinned pilot wings on his chest, continuing the family tradition of service following his dad, and more interestingly and more importantly, following his grandfather, who was a combat pilot with over 10,000 hours and later retiring as a 2-star general. In August of 2023, to celebrate my 1-year anniversary of surgery and to try to show cancer who's boss, I entered and completed the Muncie Ironman Triathlon. I also became a supporter of my friend Roger and the great work of the Sina Magowitz Foundation. So in summary, I think you might be wondering why I mentioned some of these events. Well, I had a good outcome, but I mentioned them because we need to give more people the chance to celebrate milestones like I did. One way to do this is to focus on advancing early detection. We know this is key because many patients do not discover they are affected until the later stages when the options are fewer. We cannot give everyone a CT and marker test, and we certainly can't rely on fortune or luck like I did. But what if we could use data science and artificial intelligence to determine who should be evaluated, in turn tested, detected early, and treated? My background is in the application of technology in medicine. It is my hope and goal to apply these approaches in addition to the advances that are being made on the clinical side every day to change the conversation. Working with the Sina Magowitz Foundation and crafting partnerships with key research leaders, centers, we are putting together efforts to work towards these goals. As we get these efforts rolling, Sina Magowitz Foundation will continue to connect patients with world-class experts to help them achieve the best outcomes that they can achieve while continuing to support key clinical research efforts. So stay tuned, more to come. Thank you to Roger, thank you to Dr. Evans, and to the patients in this room. I'm very grateful to be part of this group. Thank you and have a good evening.
Don, thank you, and I think we can have a little bit of humor on a night like tonight. I was glad that you stopped at those 3 F words. I was afraid, it went beyond that, but that was great stuff. Very impactful. We do have to give a round of applause to the staff here at American Family Field. Great meal. You're enjoying your desserts. Give them a round of applause. Absolutely first-class service and first-class food out here as well. We have to bring Big Roger back up, obviously Roger Magowitz, because we've talked a lot about the patients, we've talked a lot about the presentations, we've talked a lot about the doctors, but we do have some awards to give out and some thanks to give out as well tonight. So without further ado, Big Roger, come on up.
It is my distinct honor to present the Family Impact Award to an incredible family, Michael and Mary Ellen Francis. Michael's journey with pancreatic cancer began 5 years ago. Diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic cancer, he connected with the Sina Magowitz Foundation through the Honor Hearth Research Institute. His participation in a phase 2 clinical trial funded by the foundation was pivotal to his survival. Michael is not just a survivor, he is a philanthropist. He and his family had generously donated to sponsor over 80 patients to attend this year's event, as well as making substantial donations to our foundation over the years. Michael also helped establish the Sina Magowitz Foundation Pancreatic Cancer SOS program, which now supports over 300 patients and caregivers worldwide. To Mary Ellen, your strength and dedication has been instrumental in Michael's fight, and your shared mission to help others. This award is as much yours as it is Michael's. I want to thank you, Michael, Mary Ellen, to your friendship, your generosity, and your unwavering commitment to the Sina Magowitz Foundation for the fight against pancreatic cancer. Your story inspires all of us, and your impact will be felt for generations to come. Michael and Mary Ellen, can you please join me on stage? As we honor Michael and Mary Ellen with the Family Impact Award, I would be remiss if I didn't highlight how the impact of this family extends even further. Michael's brother, Perry Francis, has been a vital part of our pancreatic cancer support program. Since its inception, Perry has dedicated over 100 hours of his professional time pro bono to moderating our groups. His expertise and compassion has been a key to its thriving success. Perry, we are profoundly grateful for your time.
Come on, Casey.
Thank you, Roger, and one and all for that special moment. Our next speaker is a caretaker to a pancreatic survivor of 6 years. Please welcome to the stage Sean Kelman. Sean, come on up.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. These stories that I just heard are just so inspiring. I'm sitting at my chair thinking, how do I top this? How do I come even close? But my name is Sean Kelman, and it's a really great honor to be at this beautiful stadium tonight. It's truly wonderful to be joined by the 100+ pancreas cancer survivors, caregivers, family members, the medical community who have dedicated their lives to treating pancreas cancer. The team at the Sina Magowitz Foundation, and of course the financial support of all of those who make this possible. I do not have a medical background. My background is really in corporate. I would like to start tonight's story with a painting that I saw 30 years ago. It was when I was in university. There was a beautiful painting completed in the 1800s that hung for many years at the Louvre Museum and it depicts a final game of a man who is playing chess with the devil. One day, a group was touring the museum, and they stopped and stared at the painting. The guide explained that the painting was named Checkmate. Everyone nodded, and the guide told his story and moved on to the next painting. As the guide started to walk away, he noticed that there was a man he left who was staring at the painting intensely. He went back to the man who explained that he was a world-class chess player. And he looked at the painting. And he shouted, "It's a lie, it's a lie. The king has another move." Let's fast forward to 2003. Pancreas cancer was nowhere on my radar. I read about it because there was very famous people, the names of Supreme Court Justice, Steve Jobs, Patrick Swayze, who were all diagnosed with pancreas cancer. I understood this was a horrible disease because these people all had unlimited influence and could really afford the very best care. It seemed to me that pancreas cancer was unimpressed based on fame, wealth, education, or intellect. Then 7 years ago, I accompanied Dr. Patrick Theriault to a biopsy because he had pancreas difficulty. The CT scan showed he had a small mass, and as a doctor, he was very eager to rule out pancreas cancer. I recall standing next to Patrick when the doctor told him the test results revealed he had very aggressive pancreas cancer. We were in London at the time, and I could remember walking with Patrick from the hospital back to his apartment. In the busy streets of London, we never said a word to each other. Complete silence. Patrick opened his apartment door. Even though he's a physician, a talented one, he opened his computer and he looked up what the prognosis was for pancreas cancer. I was standing beside him, reading alongside him, and what I saw was horrifying. What I didn't realize at the time was when each of you receive a diagnosis of pancreas cancer, life is forever altered. Regardless of the treatment or the success, it's just never the same. Within a week or so, Patrick had his Whipple surgery, followed by the normal 6 months of chemotherapy. In many ways, life returned to normal. However, in November 2019, Patrick had a reoccurrence. The tumor was now located next to a major artery, and surgery was just not possible. Patrick started another round of aggressive chemo, and that did not work very well. There is an old saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words. With Patrick's permission, I would like to show you a few pictures of his journey. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a picture taken of Patrick shortly before his diagnosis. This is a picture of his reoccurrence. This picture was taken when Patrick was spiraling downwards, and so was his hope. His local doctors had given him between 6 and 18 months to live. Complete his paperwork, talk to his kids. This is when Patrick was referred to Dr. Baranski with the Honor Health Institute in Arizona. I recall the first Zoom meeting. Dr. B reviewed Patrick's case and told us how hopeful he was. This was in complete contrast to what we were told and what I have ever read. So we had a choice to believe that we should trust medical advancements or resign to well-published statistics that we are all too familiar with. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to show you a picture of Patrick 2 years later. Patrick is sitting in the audience right over here. Patrick, and I'd like you to know how much you inspire me each and every day. Patrick is still on oral chemo, but from my perspective, he's doing very well. Looking back at the last 7 years that I've been privileged to be a caretaker, I'd like to share some of the lessons learned that I take away from that experience. The first major one is that surviving pancreas cancer is not a linear journey. You have great days, days that you wish would never end. And you have dark moments that you wish you could never forget, or that you wish you could forget. It's part of the journey. This journey is very tough. Outside of the physical day-to-day that you provide to somebody who is ill, you become ultra aware of every headache, of every backache, of every just everything. We must never lose hope. Remember, the King has another move. And if he doesn't, there's great research taking place every single day. And a few weeks brings major new options. And for that, Dr. Evans, Dr. Baranski and his team, I thank you for it. Lean into the best medical treatment available and connect with your nurse navigators. This is your cheerleader in your doctor's office. One of the lessons that I've learned is that a caregiver and a patient are the best advocates for their own health. Take advice, but please never forget that you own that journey. Surround yourself with family, loved ones, and optimistic people. And most important, faith has given me the strength in so many uncertain times. I will be forever grateful to you, Roger, and to Natalie Sabga, who runs another foundation, for your love, infinite care, even after losing your mother, Sina, and Natalie, even after losing your husband, John. You don't have to do this, but you do, and I want to thank you. In conclusion, I'm truly hopeful tonight because I stand among a team of rock star doctors and researchers who've dedicated their lives to treating this disease and making sure that the King has another move. For all those beautiful stories before me, thank you. It is so inspiring. And I really dream of a day where pancreas cancer could be considered a chronic disease and the treatments are available to everyone. Thank you for your time. Good night.
Thank you, Sean. It is my great honor to introduce Kay Kays, the world's longest known living survivor of pancreatic cancer, celebrating 30 years this year, 3 decades. Give her a round of applause for that. That's great. Kay, there's plenty more here to celebrate about you. She serves on the grant review committees for the Department of Defense, NCI, American Cancer Society, and also helped establish the Sina Magowitz Foundation's Pancreatic Cancer SOS program, which, as we mentioned, now supports over 300 patients and caregivers worldwide. Beyond her incredible accomplishments, Kay has the sweetest heart, truly a friend to all. Clearly, people love her here today, so that is phenomenal to see. Her journey is unlike anyone in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Kay Kays and her amazing story.
Okay, I hope I can get through this. It's so wonderful to look out and see all the warm and friendly faces that have come out this evening to support the Sina Magowitz Foundation pancreatic cancer community. As I look into your faces, I reflect the journeys we've each had to make and the choices we have made. Sometimes you get to make the choices in life, and sometimes they make you. My 30-year with pancreatic cancer, one could say, has directed my life and guided my choices. It is so surreal for me to be introduced as a 30-year pancreatic cancer survivor. Never would I have imagined that when I first heard you have pancreatic cancer at the age of 44. I'm no one special, and I don't wear a cape. I'm just a Pennsylvania gal who grew up simple and grateful. I thank God daily for the strength to fight and embrace my everyday with blessings of my family, medical specialists, and mindset that I have received. It's one day at a time. Cross each bridge as you come to it. Don't stress over the small stuff, and learn patience with a capital P. I'm trying, Dr. P. My big message tonight is hope. Having options to pursue excellence. It is best not to look back with regret, but forward with hope. This hope comes from every one of you sitting here tonight, supporting pancreatic cancer in your own way. Thank you so much. When my first oncologist said, if I were you, I would find an iceberg and just push out, I knew I was going to fight hard and fight back. With no impactful options, surgery was a primary choice for me. And when I did qualify for and was successful, no chemo, no radiation, because there wasn't any. 5 years after the Whipple procedure, the cancer returned to the pancreas, and I had my pancreas and spleen removed. 3 months later, I was diagnosed with an inoperative lymph node case, which after several years of persistence became operative. Thank you, Dr. Evans. After several years, 12 years, I had to remove all my lower right lung removed. What a roller coaster we ride in this journey. Self-care and being patient active, I feel, are priorities in fighting pancreatic cancer. I was so fortunate to be caught early and have continued with annual follow-ups through the years. With the initial diagnosis of 4 to 6 months to live, I needed a focus other than cancer. Of course, family and friends were a priority. With this wake-up call to life, I thought of things I had not accomplished and always hoped to do. Learning sign language was one of them. So after my Whipple surgery, I returned to work, and with a community college close, I was able to enroll for my sign language class at lunchtime thanks to a supportive boss. This evolved into teaching sign language classes to children with cancer as a counselor at Camp Sunrise, and later enabled me as a patient research reviewer to read grant reviews at St. Baldrick's Children's Foundation. I was living, not dying, with this cancer. There are 2 questions that I most often ask. How do you live without a pancreas? Well, your pancreas helps digest your food and gives you insulin. I take prescription enzymes, and I wear an insulin pump, which is programmed to act as my pancreas. The other question is, how can you continue to get pancreatic cancer when you have no pancreas? Well, being the simple person I am, it's like making chicken soup. You can take the chicken out, but you still have the broth. That's what keeps our researchers very busy. I thought I was a pretty strong woman, but this relentless cancer and its named public awareness took me a place I didn't want to be. I joined a weekly all-cancer support group at the Wellness Community of Arizona during treatment. I had to be told it was okay for me to question my health care, to ask questions, and get educated to be part of my healthcare team. In 2003 then, I initiated the first pancreatic cancer support group in Arizona. I learned we do so much to heal our bodies that we forget our minds need healing too. The creation of Pancreatic Cancer Support for Survivorship with the Sina Magowitz Foundation virtual support groups are so critical. Research has shown that depression has a strong correlation with overall survival. As many times I've mentioned, it took me 5 years to find my first pancreatic cancer survivor. I had so many questions. When I did find him, he told me later, he says, "I thought you were a stalker." Every time I turned around, there you were, asking another question. After first taking care of myself for 8 years, Roger's phrase, "If not me, then who?" enticed me. I had volunteered for a lot of pancreatic cancer events and shared my story with many, but there were still too few survivors. I stepped out of my comfort zone and became a pancreatic research advocate. My passion for more survivors has allowed me to focus and force crucial issues for patients in the research arena as a local, national, and international grant reviewer. I forgot it. A special thank you to the Sina Magowitz Foundation, who nominated me to the AACR Cancer Today magazine as a cover story, and it was accepted. You can read about the entire pancreatic research journey in the magazine, which mysteriously has appeared everywhere. I have seen a lot of good chasins for patient benefit in the last 20 years of patient advocacy. Supportive care has changed for more impact and benefit for patients. In that way, I'm saying we're not only looked at for our cancer, but our whole body. Pancreatic cancer has accelerated dramatically, showing for more much-needed research. When I was diagnosed, the survival rate was 3.7. It has gone to 13, and I love hearing going to 30. We have also found for patients, research shows that onset of diabetes has been identified to occur in 30% of pancreatic cancer patients, and that is a great story for us in the diabetes family. We have a stronger stand on our pancreatic clinical trials. Clinical trials should not be a last resort. I would be up here for a full hour if I kept on that title. Targeted therapies for personalized medicine, recognizing that we are all different. Patients are being recognized as partners in their health care. There have been organizations organized as Ask a Patient, Patients as Partners. My favorite, after 30 years, that pancreatic cancer can possibly be made a chronic disease. There are more options than I did in 1994, but our research still has a mountain to climb. And having engaged with these smart, innovative, committed, and caring research, I can smile and literally beg you to support their research so patients can fight hard and fight back. I am proud to represent the Sina Magowitz Foundation as a patient research advocate in the Department of Defense Pancreatic Cancer Research Program, the NCI Pancreas Task Force, the American Society in Clinical Research, and the Early Diagnosis Initiative dealing with diabetes on the safety and daily monitoring, because pancreatic cancer patients want to live. At this time, I have a personal request, a shout out for someone being a light at the end of the tunnel, this 30-year survivor. He has been part of my medical team for over 20 years, and from the sidelines, supported me, mentored me, and befriended me through my patient advocacy research climb to the best that I could be. He is my hero, and I proudly acknowledge tonight his many commitments to me and the pancreatic community. Please help me giving a cheer of appreciation for Dr. Daniel Von Hoff. Okay, I am celebrating 30 years, which you know, but we have many survivors in this audience that are also celebrating anniversaries. So, as I call out the years, the survivors, would you please stand? Please hold your applause till the end so we can give them all a robust appreciation. So, 1 to 5 years. Where are my newbies? Woo! Look at that! 5 to 10 years. All right. Oh, God, this is so... 10 to 15 years. All right. 15 to 20. We have them. We have them. 20 to 25. Woo! 25 to 30. Where's Maris? There's a couple of them out here. This is what you have done. Thank you. I present to you the Sina Magowitz Foundation Pancreatic Cancer Survivors for 2024. We want to live. Thank you.
Kay, we are so delighted to be standing here with you tonight. You are our warrior. Without the help of all of you, Kay would not be a 30-year survivor. Thank you, and let's give a round of applause to everyone who shared their stories tonight. This is what it's about, to fund treatments to keep people alive. Before we go, I want to take a moment to thank all the medical professionals, caregivers, and patients who took the time out of their schedules to be here. We all greatly appreciate that. As a little fun, now that all your funds are depleted, you're probably wondering who gets the centerpiece, the big prize. If you look under your chair, whoever has one of these cards under this chair, you are the winner of the centerpiece, and please take that home and enjoy it. And before... Now, before we go, I have to just make a couple of closing comments. I really have to thank my partner, Roger, for all the work and dedication that he's put in local on the ground. He's been our whole support team, both him and Jackie. And really, thank you, Roger. Thank you, Milwaukee Brewers. And thank you, everybody in Milwaukee that has helped us. Least but not least, you've seen a lot of cameramen around, a lot of videoing. I have to do a call out to Lisa Rudin and Bob Turton for your support and video work to show our cause and to help the volunteers. Last but not least, we want to say thank you to all the donors and supporters who helped us raise money. Thank you again for spending the evening with us and supporting the Sina Magowitz Foundation. Thank you. Have a great evening, a safe trip home, and I thought it was thank you.
Well, we just want to say to you, Roger, that you're pretty darn special, too.
Thank you.
So we want to thank you. Would everybody give a round of applause to the one and only Roger Magowitz.
You folks want more? We could do more. Thank you all for coming.